Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Mr. Chairperson. Mr. President, mark me down as disappointed. Last week, Thursday, you were due to appear before the members of the National Council of Provinces to answer some questions of national importance. When we saw the notice calling a joint sitting, we were of course disappointed that you would not be giving account to the nation. And yet we hoped that you'd be taking the country into your confidence in your speech during the joint sitting. Well, that didn't happen. Instead, just like with the ANC, who's also got no new material, we got a rerun. Mr. President, you had the chance to give us all hope, to show that decisive leadership had emerged from the crises that have been caused by lockdown, to prove that you are in charge, not some faceless committee. Sadly, you chose to rebrand existing ideas and not really address some of the hard issues. A tweet that I read summed it up rather well. It said, even the Rand turned to another channel halfway through the SONA speech rerun. So let's reflect on why it was necessary to rerun SONA. The fact is, Mr. President, that you make promises each time that you deliver your State of the Nation address. And that's where we've heard all the components of last Thursday's speech before. They were just old promises. But your cabinet ignores your SONA instructions. Why has the broadband access not been released by Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams? What about sorting out e-tolls? Gender-based violence remains largely unaddressed, and in fact it worsened under lockdown. Infrastructure instructions have not been taken, and they haven't taken traction. Where they have, they are being used for corrupt ends. And the issues around power generation, the unbundling of Eskom, and greater capacity for growing our country were largely ignored until just last week. The core problem, Mr. President, is that your cabinet is not implementing your vision and your instructions. They continue with their transgressions, uninfluenced by your instructions. Either this is a sign of an administration who's in their comfort zones, ignoring political guidance due to their ability to baffle politicians with voluminous documents and frustrate interventions with technicalities, or it is a case of an executive who's not taking instructions from their president. Either way, sir, you need to take control, and this is your chance. Thank heavens for the opening, albeit reluctantly, of the electricity supply regulation that was published last week. Your minister has defied you since SONA, Mr. President. What have you done about that? What about the broadband auction that's been promised for 10 consecutive SONA speeches? It's common cause that access to fast and cheap internet improves an economy by between 2 and 5%. And it is also a great leveler of an economy. And yet, the Honorable Stella and Nomvula Mokonyane before her have defied instructions from 2 presidents to release bandwidth. What have you done about that? You are the president. Preside, and let there be consequences for those who do not do your bidding. Shuffle the cabinet if you need, to assert yourself, but more importantly, to save the nation. The power plays within the African National Congress have held South Africa back for far too long. They have caused us to stagnate, all because you are too cautious to take a stance that will weaken your political position. The leader of the opposition, the Honourable Steenhuisen, has addressed the issues of policy uncertainty and the need to stabilize investor and international sentiment in his speech earlier. Expropriation without compensation, nationalization and monopolization are not favored in modern politics and economics. The lack of a response to land grabs has got people worried. We need to get back to basics and remember what is core to government responsibility. Look for the enablers. Look at electricity, infrastructure, bandwidth, quality, education, and the rule of law. The ego-driven projects, the self-flattery, that must all stop. This is what we hoped that you would announce last Thursday. Cut the unnecessary spending, stop the theft by locking up the crooks on your benches and in your departments. The goose that lays the golden egg is in intensive care. There's nothing left in the fiscus. Every program in the budget of every department needs to be reevaluated. And where necessary, where necessity cannot be shown, the project must be cut. The developmental state has become the survivalist state. The message needs to go to every minister and every department. Developmental state is a worthy ideal, and the redress is absolutely key to building a cohesive South Africa. But survival is more so, and the effect of a sovereign debt default will be devastating to your developmental projects in the longer term. Short-term pain for longer-term gain is now the only option. This is a time for urgent implementation of best ideas, not rhetoric. Do the right thing, Mr. President, and we will support you. You will find allies where you never expected, so long as you have South Africa at heart, so long as you put South Africa first, but continue to dilly-dally around the most important matters, and you will isolate yourself even further. Continue to place the ANC before South Africa, a strategy that seems to have failed you so far, both in your presidential duties as well as within the ANC. Continue to place South Africa second, and you will be short on support. Yours is a lonely position. You need all the friends that you can get. Mr. President, you followed the advice of the DA on unbundling Eskom, and now you finally agreed to allow municipalities to procure power elsewhere, although it took the initiation of a court case for that to happen. The DA's insistence that the public sector wage bill needs to be cut has now even been acknowledged by COSATU as an imperative. Is it not time, sir, to take some other suggestions from the DA in the interest of saving our economy? There are three important private members' bills that have been proposed by DA MPs. The Fiscal Responsibility Bill to ensure controlled borrowing and spending, another bill to ease the regulations around access to pension funds, to allow South Africans some flexibility to navigate through these unprecedented times, and the third bill to outlaw cadre deployment in order to ensure the efficient operation of government without the rampant corruption that has become synonymous with ANC government. Let's get beyond the politics and pass those bills for the sake of our people. In summary, Mr. President, you need a new cabinet that can take our country forward. Parliament needs to embrace new thinking to adapt to this changed world. South Africa needs a government that will fulfill the promises to take us out and forward of this mess. It's your move, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.